All right. So,
Get the link. I'm finna send the link out real quick. I usually give it a second, so if we got anybody that's gonna join, we gonna get them in.
all right.
In the meantime, though, Jan, man, welcome, bro. We've been trying to get you here for a minute, man.
It's good to be here, man. Yeah, been trying, man.
It's looking like Jan gonna end up being our Friday night guy with us. So it's gonna be lit.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to be here as much as I can, man.
It's all right. So look, bro, going hopping right into it, man. Let's go ahead and let me hit him with the intro, man. Look, you got to give yourself a nickname, Jan. You can't just be Jan. Everybody got a nickname. You can't just be Jan.
Hey, I ain't really think too much about it, so I guess, we'll get there when we get there.
Say no more, man. Damn, my phone acting stupid. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of The Lounge, baby. I'm your host, The Lounge, undisputed universal champion. You feel me? I'm Mr. Two Belts now. I'm even wearing the wrestling shirt.
Wow. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They don't give two belts out to just anybody, Jan.
Yeah, I know. I got to step my game up. I didn't know it was coming like this.
Hey, man, we got you, man. But man, welcome to another episode of the Night Shift, starring our new co-host for the Night Shift, and great friend of mine, man. You Baltimore, you DMV? What you playing?
Baltimore.
Baltimore's very own Colts super fan, by the way. Colts super fan. Mr. Jerem, welcome to the pod with us, baby. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Good to be here. Not good about the Colts, though. It's very depressing, but hey.
It's okay, bro. Anthony Richardson can make like 3 good plays a year, bro. You good?
Hey, well.
Real quick, though, do you think that, I was talking to guys about this the other day, how do you feel about the NFL's playoff format?
I think it's fine. I think there's always going to be that year where maybe a team that's better than a wild card spot ends up in a wild card spot, or a team that's really don't deserve to be in the playoffs ends in the playoffs because they win a division or something. I think that's just going to happen. But overall, I think the format is fine.
Because I was just looking at it like, man, this I'm going to watch this game even though, but the Week 18 matchup between the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings will be one of the 14 win teams is going to be a 5 seed.
Yeah, no, it's crazy for real.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just one of those things that's just going to happen by the nature of it as an outlier, but I think overall the format is fine.
I think what I would change if I was to change anything, I want to play devil's advocate for the change. I would do it where, yes, the division winners can get in. That's cool. But, like, for example, the Bucks may get in with 9 wins. I would still let the team with the better record get a home game, just being honest.
Yeah. If I had to change anything, if I had like a little middleman option, I would say, why not? If you're the 4th seed, maybe you don't get a bye if you don't have a better record. Something like that. Something in the middle. Because it is unfair to the Vikings or the Lions, whoever, but it is what it is. I think either way, they'll still find a way to win.
Oh, 1,000%. Now, you ended up ranking running backs for the draft. We're just going to have a little draft talk for y'all going forward, right?
Yep.
Who is your running back one? We kind of just go down your list. How many did you do?
I did about 5, 6 high priority ones. And of course, no surprise, Ashton Genty number 1.
Oh man, of course. People were saying, "Oh, he got exposed." I didn't see it. He might not.
He got exposed.
Yeah, like you're playing against the number 1 overall player in the class.
Mm-hmm.
Over there at Penn State, and Abdul Carter. He's an edge, but that's still a difference maker. And they man, you could see from the first play of the game, they stacked the box. They had
Oh
I
yeah.
think 7 or 8 in the box first play of the game on Ashton Jensen.
Yeah, they was ready. They was definitely ready to load up and make sure they could stop him as best as they could.
And to be honest, they still didn't. But what I'm gonna be honest, man. I hate to be. I know maybes don't count, but if they have a better quarterback, they win. They probably can win the game against Penn State.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. Or if he's on a little bit of a better team, I think he would be fine. I think even though they were stacking the box, he still had a couple of nice runs, and even some of the runs where it might have looked like it was 2nd and 6 or whatever, it still be 2nd and 6 because he's breaking like 3, 4 tackles just to get those 4 yards instead of it being a loss.
Yeah, and we get so used to teams. We get so used to seeing him break big runs and have crazy
Hmm.
games that they think his 104 rushing yards was a bad game. It might have been per se a bad game from Ashton Genty's standpoint, but I mean he still averaged almost 4 yards a carry. That's hard to do.
Yeah, yeah, he's still a problem. I think he did fine. He did what he could. It just, I mean, he's only one guy.
Now, do you see him a lot? I think they had him projected going like around 10 to 12 range. Could you see him going, sneak into that top 10? Or you think it's too much? It's too much. We need this or we need that. Just kind of let him slide by because I feel like if he ends up solo and the contender's able to get him, then I feel like you just changed the whole course of maybe
Oh
what you
yeah,
got going on.
yeah. I think it would be problematic if he ended up on a contender. I think he could slip, or not slipping. Sorry, he could go early. Actually, we've got so many 3-win teams, couple of 2-win teams. So I think depending on who wins and who loses, he could definitely end up being on a team that maybe has a quarterback that they feel okay with for this draft, and they're like, let's get a running back.
So a lot of people had him projected to end up in Dallas at 13.
Hmm. I think that would be a great fit for what they need.
I like him in Dallas, but I could also see someone. I know the Jaguars might not do it, but the Jaguars wanted a Travis Hunter type of thing. Is what we all kind of
Hmm.
thought. I could see them taking Genty to try and solidify the run game a little bit more because to me, the best ETN is still in college. He's not in the
Yeah,
NFL.
yeah, I agree. That could be a sleeper team. I know that with the quarterback situation, there not being as many, maybe they take up the quarterbacks real quick, and you see a team slip like the Titans, and maybe they're like, let's take Genty.
Ah man, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. 1 through 4 is kind of all wrapped in my eyes. 1 through 4 is pretty wrapped up. Um, Patriots, if they keep the number 1 pick, they take Travis Hunter. I think
Oh yeah.
that even if they trade down, Tennessee, you need a quarterback. Cleveland, you don't need a quarterback, but I would like for you to draft a quarterback if I'm
Hmm.
Cleveland. Giants need a quarterback, and then that's it. So like out of the teams in the top 5, I feel like New England could trade anywhere between 1 and 4
Hmm.
and still get Travis Hunter. So I feel like we know he's gonna be number 1.
Yeah, I think Travis is gonna be number one as long as Patriots keep it. I think where guys like Shador, Cam Ward, and maybe even Jackson Dart go, I think that's kind of up in the air.
Okay, okay. But let's keep it moving. What else you got for me?
Yeah, another guy I think will be a problem. Dylan Sampson from Tennessee.
Okay, okay. I like Dylan Sampson. A lot of SEC ball being played over there.
Hmm. Getting the toughest of the tough. Um, I think Cam Scatterboo, he may not be a higher pick, but I think whatever team he goes to, he will definitely make a difference. I would put him in the top 5, but he's not going to be number 3. Number 3, I would say, is a guy that I also like, Donovan Edwards. His numbers don't always jump off, but when you need a big run, we need an important run, he's going to be the guy there.
Okay, okay. So
Donovan
that's
Edwards
at
from
4
Michigan.
for you.
Yep. Hmm. And another one. I think it's a tie between Keyshawn Judkins and also Travion Henderson for both for
Oh,
Ohio State. I think they both give a lot, and they have a little bit of different weaknesses. But I think they're kind of my tie for 5.
shout out to Quinshon Judkins, a Montgomery product. Watch that guy beat up on my
Okay.
old high school.
Okay.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, definitely nice. I like him coming out of Ohio State, not Ohio State. I like him coming from Ole Miss. He transferred in
Hmm.
Ohio State, had a nice two-headed monster in the backfield. Do you have any sleepers? Because I definitely have maybe 1 to 2 sleepers. One big one though that I really care for. Do you have any sleepers before we keep going?
Um, Not sure if he's necessarily a sleeper. I know their team, Oklahoma State, was pretty rough this year, but I do still like Ollie Gordon and still believe in him.
And me being an Auburn fan, I watched Jaquez Hunter tote the rock for I think 4 years. I think he, if I'm not mistaken, led the SEC in rushing this year. He's just on a bad Auburn team. We won't even per se a bad team. We're just in a rebuilding stage, and I hate that for Jaquez Hunter because he was so good during this rebuilding stage for us that to me I think it hurt his stock more than anything else.
Really, yeah.
So I could definitely see that. But man, I think my favorite out of your whole list, outside of Ashton Gency, of course, is I think Dylan Sampson is gonna make some noise. But that bowl game with Cam Scatterbush showed me. I knew he was nice because I watched the game against Iowa State. But the thing that kind of stuck out to me about Cam Scatterbush was what he did in the receiving game. A lot of running backs they're not catching the ball. Like big physical run. He's a big physical runner, if
Oh
you ask
yeah.
me. And a lot of big physical runners, they're just not going out of their way to catch the ball. Perfect example of that. I look at Derrick Henry as the epitome
Yeah.
of big physical runner.
The one
His
weakness he had.
Heisman, yes, his Heisman campaign, he had 11 catches.
Mm.
So to see a big physical runner who's also can make some shake in the passing game, I feel like you get him on the right team, he can make something happen.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like a lot of these guys comes down to coaching.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, coaching can make or break you and how you're used. I don't know if there will be a team that will take a chance and say, Cam, you're going to be our lead back right off the rip. But I do think, especially with a speedy running back, he could be that thunder and lightning that a team's trying to build, similar to how the Lions are built.
Oh yeah, that two-headed monster. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we use these offensive geniuses like Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid, Sean McVay. These are all guys who could make something happen, and these are all realistically teams who could take on Cam Scatterbush and make him something more than what he is. But yeah, I'm just very interested to see how this goes.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
I had the pleasure of doing quarterbacks, and my top 5, it hasn't really changed since the beginning of the season. I think I
Mm-hmm.
like the order these guys are in. But my QB1 is Shedeur Sanders. He was not my QB1 at the beginning of the season.
Really?
Quinn Ewers was my QB1 at the beginning of the season.
Okay. Yeah.
But to me, every complaint I had about Shedeur Sanders going into this season was doesn't throw in anticipation. I don't know how strong his arm really is. Um, wherever he had kind of shaky mechanics to me. He never led passes. My biggest issue with Shedeur Sanders was, Jaron, if you're running a 10 route curl,
Mm-hmm.
he's not gonna throw it when you're 6 yards up the field finna turn around. He's gonna
Ah.
hit you in the chest at 10 yards. And that was my biggest problem with him last year. But I had to give him a grain of salt because it was the first year coming into this system. He went into the offseason, fixed all the mechanical issues, and like, man, he looked like a whole new quarterback coming into this year. He's throwing the ball with great anticipation. He was making plays for others, and he Dion and that coaching staff did a good job of getting his playmakers in space. But when they needed a play, Shedeur Sanders made a
Oh
play.
yeah.
That is
Oh
to
yeah.
me why he ended up jumping to my QB1. Of course, he's still gonna have stuff he needs to work on, but in my opinion, he's probably the most polished quarterback we have in this class.
Yeah, I agree. Same. And there's a reason that Tom Brady spoke highly of him. I think he really gets it. Um, Obviously, he's had line issues and various other issues with the team, but I think a lot of times he is the bright spot, and I think he's a guy who really doesn't get flustered when the moment is big.
And what kind of caught my eye, I'm glad you said that. Out of all the top quarterbacks on my list, Shador Sanders may be the most prepared to play for a bad team.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. From the standpoint of he's been in situations where he doesn't have a great offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So he's already knowing, hey, I can't hold the ball 5 to 6, 8. I feel like this is something that Bryce Young had to learn, and now we see that he's learned this. He looks like Bryce Young that won the
Oh
Heisman.
yeah.
But Shador Sanders knows, hey, get the ball out, get it out. Let's get it to my guys. Let's get them in space and let them make plays. Especially if he does end up in a New York or somewhere where he already has dynamic playmakers. Um, I look for New York to try and trade up and make something happen to get him. I don't see him I don't see him going to Tennessee or Cleveland. I think that he won't go there strictly off the fact of he's gonna hold out if you draft him.
Mm.
So don't
I,
waste your time. I don't
that
see
would be
Tennessee
interesting.
drafting him. I'm not Tennessee. I don't see Cleveland drafting him anyway because Cleveland they're still with the Deshaun Watson thing for right now because they paid him so much money. And Shador is ready to go day one.
Oh yeah, I can see that. I mean, I think he's one of those guys that, especially if you have questions about your quarterback, I think it's a no-brainer to try and go get a Shador. With a guy like Will Levis, who's had those issues, even the coach has said he's had those issues. I think they no-brainer take Shador. I think his best thing is his preparedness, is the fact that he doesn't get flustered. I will say he does hold on to the ball sometimes a little too long, and that's a habit that could get worse before it gets better. But I do like that pick. I do like him at number one.
Exactly. My number 2 quarterback. A lot of people have Cam Ward as their number 2 quarterback. He is in my top 5, but Cam Ward is not my number 2. Quinn Ewers is my number 2 quarterback. Quinn Ewers. He's had some issues. A lot of his issues stem from him getting injured, in my opinion. That line didn't do him any favors sometimes. But I think the thing about Quinn Ewers that draws me to him, he does have he has vision problems. I don't like the fact that Quinn Ewers is due for one Quinn Ewers thing a game. He's
Yeah.
due for one interception a game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. I feel like he's a fairly accurate quarterback for what we have. But the thing that makes Quinn Ewers different from a lot of other quarterbacks in this class, Quinn Ewers, when it's the fourth quarter, when the games get close, he just tends to thrive. He showed that the other night against Arizona State. He didn't get rattled, didn't get flustered, just stood back, delivered, made good reads. And I feel like once he gets comfortable, he's going to be a lot better. He does have things he has to work on. One of the biggest red flags for Quinn Ewers is sometimes I feel like his decision making is so bad because being at a place like Texas and having some of the weapons that they've been able to acquire over the years, such as being able to go to Matthew Golden, Isaiah Bond, one of these big targets. Sometimes I feel like he just, you ever seen that meme where it's like Matthew Stafford when he had Megatron, Calvin Johnson
Oh
down
yeah.
there. I
Yep.
feel like sometimes he relies a little bit too much on that rather than going for what works. And I don't like when sometimes I feel like guys try and force the home run. And I think Quinn
Mm-hmm.
Ewers needs to kind of step back from that. Every play doesn't have to be a home run.
Oh yeah.
But that's my big thing about Quinn.
Yeah. No, I think Quinn, he definitely has a lot of potential. I personally am not as high on him because I feel like in big moments he does get a little flustered sometimes. Of course, in my opinion, Arizona State really could have and should have won that game, but I think the game I really look at for him, where I started to pause on how I felt about him, was that first Georgia game when you could tell he was flustered and he was rattled, and they even had to take him out and put an arch for a little bit. And I just wonder how that's going to look for an NFL when he's on an NFL team. How is he going to deal with? There might be games as a rookie where he's sacked like 3-4 times.
Mm-hmm. See how he's gonna react from dealing with that
Yeah.
kind of pressure. Okay. Now my next quarterback is now I'm on Cam Ward. The thing about Cam Ward to me is I think he's a very solid quarterback, Cam Ward. But I don't like the fact that to me Cam Ward does not play with enough urgency in my factor.
Mm.
He's some you see the memes. He looks like he's unbothered in the pocket. Um, got a big arm, got a huge arm. But man, I don't know, man. It's just something about Cam Ward that gets me. I
Yeah.
feel like he's not. I feel like he's not taking it serious. I feel like he's not as locked in as he should be. Sometimes the vibe I get from Cam Ward is I play football because I just so happen to be good at it.
Mm. Okay.
Um, I kind of want to question his preparedness a little bit. Um, man, but we know when he lights it up, man. Cam Ward lights it up.
Oh yeah, he can
That's
light
the
it up.
that's the one thing. That's the one positive I got for him is when Cam Ward lights it up. Cam Ward lights it up.
Yeah.
So he's my QB3. I don't have a lot of bad things to say about him, but I just need to see how he is going forward.
One thing I like about him, and I like about a lot of quarterbacks in this situation, is yes, his defense is bad, but that's actually sneaky positive for a guy like him. Is that every game he's in, pretty much, he has to ball out for them to win, and more often than not, this year he delivered. So I think that type of experience will really help propel him on an NFL team.
It will, but like I always ask Jared, what are you gonna do when the games get shorter?
Hmm.
Every game's not a shootout. Some guys just look like shootouts, gunslingers, whatever. Every game's not gonna be a shootout. So when that game gets slow, what do you? My thing is, one of the big things about NFL level football is, in certain situations, Jared, we all know that in the last 6 minutes of the game, you get two possessions, maybe.
Oh yeah.
So what are you gonna do in those situations where you can't get your rhythm going and you gotta, you know what I'm saying? It's
Hmm.
not big play time. It's not ball out cam time. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's time to
Yeah,
slow it down. Let's be methodical. Let's drive it down the field. What are you doing in those situations?
that's true. Yeah, I think he'll be ready for that. Personally, I do believe in Cam Ward. I
Okay.
know some people, of course, because of him sitting out, maybe think he doesn't care enough or whatever the case.
I would have sat out too.
I personally think the way he sat out was a bad look, sitting out at half, because at that point it's like you might as well play, especially because the game is close.
Yeah, exactly. You're the warm guy.
Yeah, either all or nothing, in my opinion.
But the one thing I do understand is um with certain situations, the scout's not gonna look at him and ask, "Hey, why did you only play the first half of the BBVA Compass Chili Bowl?" So that's all it
Yeah,
is.
I'm sure they'll ask him, and I'm sure he'll give an answer, and it's not going to affect too much about how they think. But hey,
Yep. Another very complete quarterback for my quarterback number 4 is Mr. Carson Beck.
mm,
Carson Beck did have his issues this year with turnovers. I will say that. But his decision making is now these next few guys I'm going to give you are guys that if they may have to start day one, but if they don't have to start day one, I'm not mad at it. I'm
okay.
not mad at letting them sit a little bit. Carson Beck is one of those guys. To me, Carson Beck is one of the more accurate guys.
Hmm.
He got a decently strong arm on him, got pretty solid mechanics, but he suffers from a little bit worse of what Quinn Ewers suffers from. His decision making is bad, and to me, Carson Beck is not a shootout quarterback.
Yeah, okay. I can get with
He's
that.
not. To me, Carson Beck is not going to be a shootout guy. He's going to thrive off of having a pretty decent run game. The run game opens up a lot for him. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like the
Yeah,
run game opens up a whole lot for him. And if he gets on a team with a decent run game, I think that's when you're gonna and he has to start, that's when you're gonna get the best out of him. So, him in a place like man, I really don't know. I'm looking at it.
I think he could be like a later round pick. Maybe a team that's not necessarily starving for a quarterback, but could still use one. Maybe
Oh,
could take him.
a Rams will be a team I would
Yeah,
look at
yeah,
him.
Rams.
I could also see the Seahawks looking at a player like him.
Oh yeah, somebody that's
Maybe
not necessarily urgent. Yeah.
maybe even Pittsburgh, somebody that could be looking at him as well.
Hmm.
So I feel like one of these teams are the ones for him at least. My fifth spot, I'm gonna split it between two players. Um, who are both to me, these are both guys who can make a difference, but they are so raw. These are such raw prospects. That this spot will be split between Jalen Milroe and Jackson Dart.
Hmm.
Two of the more raw prospects in his draft, according to me. Jackson Dart, a phenomenal athlete. He plays with a certain knack for the game that I like to see. Has a lot of swagger. But to me, Jackson Dart is still a raw prospect from the standpoint of he may not be the most accurate. He is a gunslinger. He's my draft class is Brett Favre. That's exactly who he is.
Hmm.
He's a gunslinger. He's a playmaker. Has a huge arm, but sometimes I see him using that huge arm and losing his team the game.
Yeah.
Perfect example. LSU game showed me a lot about him. 24 for 42 on pass attempts, one touchdown, one pick. Lose the game by 3. Maybe he completes a few more of those passes. We may be having a different kind of game. We may be having a different kind
Hmm.
of conversation. So that's why he's my Brett Favre. 29-6, 4,200 yards, 29 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Great season for Jackson Dart. Big arm. He balled out in his bowl game. But man, Jackson Dart is my Brett Favre of this class.
Oh yeah.
Big arm. He gonna sling the pill all across the field. But man, he's just such a raw prospect. Not sure how great his decision making may be at times. Sometimes I feel like his team was just so much better than others that he was just the icing on the cake that pushed him over the top.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I believe in him a lot. Actually, I think again, like you said, his potential. He's got it there. He can really sling it. He can be that gunslinger. I think if he gets the right team, yeah, you're gonna look at him in a few years and be like, oh man, we should have taken him earlier.
Exactly. Somebody else I'm not completely sold on with, which would be Jalen Milroe. This
Hmm.
season with Jalen Milroe with me was completely on him from the standpoint of I feel like Jalen Milroe didn't take the time to learn this new system. He thrived so well under Nick Saban that I
Hmm.
don't feel like he really took the time to to really learn this system and give Kellen DeBoer a real chance.
Yeah, I think that's another raw prospect. I would like to see him go to a team again where they don't necessarily need a quarterback to step in right away and light it up. A team that maybe can let him sit for a little bit. Maybe like that's again the Steelers, maybe the Vikings, something like that, where the coaching staff is good and they can get him straight. Even if he's not playing right away, he'll still have a chance in the league.
And he needs a coach to trust him. But you can see at times, especially I looked at that bowl game against Michigan, he did not trust what his coaches were calling.
Hmm.
Kellen
Yeah.
DeBoer had a phenomenal scheme for that Michigan game. I knew in the third quarter it was he had a play where he threw the ball too high for Ryan Williams. Ryan Williams couldn't come down with it. Then the exact next play on third down, he had about 6 seconds to throw, had a wide open guy, missed him, and then just looked so lost on the field.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy that struggles with accuracy issues. I think that's something that can be improved. A lot of it comes down to just footwork, stepping in, and I think that's something that will be fixed with the right team. Again, if he goes to a team where they're saying right off the bat, "Hey, you come in, change our franchise," I think that's not who he is right now, and that's not going to do him a service.
And looking at it, to be honest, his last 2 seasons were very similar number wise. So the only difference is he threw a lot more picks this year.
Oh yeah, and I think those picks really hurt him in a couple of games. That
Oh yeah.
again, they win a couple more of those games, and maybe they're in the playoffs making noise.
Now every single pick this season wasn't his fault because that I watched that South Carolina game. He had some picks in that game that weren't necessarily all on him. And I think his accuracy may be a little iffy at times, but to me, he has great ball placement. I know placement
Mm.
and accuracy kind of go hand in hand, but if you kind of see where I'm going, he has
Yeah,
really good ball placement. His accuracy might not always be there, but he puts it for the most part in a spot where his receiver can make a play on the ball.
yeah, it's the intent and the thought behind where he's going.
Exactly. Um, Real sleeper quarterback for me. Um, I really just want to see what he can do. Dylan Gabriel, smaller guy,
Mm.
lefty out of Oregon. Uh, he probably gives a lot of old guys Doug Flutie vibes, but I really want to see what he can do. The issue is with left-handed quarterbacks that we all run into is a left-handed quarterback has to have a system made around him. You
Yeah.
look at you look at Tua because if you have a left-handed quarterback, your whole playbook is flipped.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So if you have a left-handed quarterback, your whole playbook is going to be flipped, and you're going to have to adjust to that.
Yeah. A lot of guys are gonna struggle with mentally flipping the play in their head.
Exactly.
I could see
But
that.
man, what's that again?
Yeah, I could see him being a sleeper that could really turn up.
So I'm very interested to see how we go moving forward. Now we had some basketball stuff come out earlier. Miami and Jimmy Butler situation. Me being a Heat fan, this is a very stinky situation. The
Man.
team suspended him 7 games, and now the NBA is investigating Miami for that suspension.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Do you think he's gone?
I do, and I think it's nobody's fault with Pat Riley. I'm gonna be honest. Pat Riley is the biggest thing hurting the Miami Heat right now.
Mm.
And I love my team, but Pat Riley is our biggest downfall right now. And I say that because we've always had, to me, we've always had the best coach in the NBA. If not, he's top three at the worst.
Mm. Yeah.
We always seem to draft fairly well. Like we had Khalil Ware had a really good game last night against the Pacers. Tyler Hero has been having a phenomenal season this year. You know what I'm saying? We got Hami Jaquez Jr. still doing his thing. Nikola Jovic finally finding his own. So I feel like we need to just be able to embrace the young core a lot more. And my thing is, Jimmy Butler made us more relevant in the last 5 years than we have been in a while since we lost LeBron.
Hmm.
And to me, I feel like Pat Riley, you have to stop treating this like the Godfather, because him treating us like the Godfather is what lost us the Damian Lillard sweepstakes.
Yeah.
He has to.
Um,
Yes, stop.
I think that's a lot of just owner pettiness, though.
I do too, but I feel like our owner has to stop touching the thing I'm learning about Pat Riley is, and we've heard other guys say this. Udonis he's never talked bad on Pat Riley, but you can kind of see where he's coming from the standpoint of it's either Pat's way or the highway,
Hmm. Yeah,
and that's
definitely.
not great. And I heard reports that he may potentially be gone, getting ready to retire. Love you, Pat. We appreciate what you did for the team, but man, we need somebody else in here running the show, man.
Yeah, I would be curious to see who they would get. Um, I don't know if they trade Jimmy. I know he obviously wants to, and maybe Pat Riley's not fond of him right now. But I will say, trading him in a lot of situations, it doesn't make sense. Who are you getting that's gonna replace Jimmy and say, "Hey, okay, we're gonna be better tomorrow because we got this player"?
Nobody, and that's why I said we should have tried to work with him because he wanted a big time. I wasn't giving Jimmy a max contract, but I would have been willing to work with him. So like, hey, you might not get your money here, but let's try and get you a signing trade to get you elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? Let's
Yeah,
try and get you somewhere where you'll be comfortable and happy, and we can get a decent offer.
yeah. And I think it is a shame that they really never got him that other star within that time that could have helped them out a lot.
And I feel like we were kind of there with the and like when we went to the finals as the 8 seed. I
Mm,
feel like that finals. I don't know if we win it, but I feel like we have a significantly higher chance without all the injuries. We look a
yeah.
lot better if Tyler Hero's on the court.
Oh yeah.
Like
I think.
that's 20 points a game you're missing. That's a hard motion to come by
hmm
with those points, man. Like man, it's so iffy.
And I think in some ways the good job Spolstra did kind of hurts them because it makes the roster look like, hey, we're right there basically every year. When the reality is, no, he just maximized where they could have been, but they should have been like we were at 8 seed, maybe losing the first round.
Exactly. Um, man, some other stuff going on. Jared, aren't you a Lakers fan?
I am a Lakers fan.
How you feeling, man? Getting Dorian Finney-Smith. Who else y'all getting that trade? I was hype on Dorian Finney-Smith because I really like him.
Yeah. You know, so far so good as they say. I think the thing is with that versus D'Lo is, we got a lot more defense. I think it was one of those trades to prepare for another trade where we get maybe a big man. We'll see about that. I like what JJ has done so far though. And I like how Max Christie's really stepped up his game recently.
Oh, yeah, man. I feel like JJ Redick finally put and Shake Milton was the other guy I got. JJ
Yeah.
Redick finally put a system around his team instead of just kind of letting you go freelance and go out there and do what you need to do.
hmm
Um, my biggest question mark for the Lakers going forward is how do we capitalize on this like I feel like you're at a weird spot where you're not bad but you're not great. So how do you maximize the little bit of time you have left with Bron and you know Anthony Davis? How do you maximize that time? How do you make the best of it and to potentially make another finals push?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know if we're finals ready with the team regardless. Um, I think what JJ is doing is definitely added a level of consistency for us. I think this again, like you said, the system he's put for us has really helped to open up guys and help them develop. Um, Maybe it's that you hope that everyone develops optimally and we become that really good team, but I think right now it's just we're gonna be in the hunt. We're going to be able to go against most teams on any given night, but I don't think we're going to be able to sustain that for a whole playoff run.
Okay, okay. Shoot. Anything else you think about right now?
Um, I guess. Do you who's your early MVP?
NFL or MVP? NFL or NBA?
NBA.
Mm, man, it's hard for me to go against Shea right now. As far as my early
Mm-hmm.
MVP, Shea has really been hooping. He's
Wait.
averaging 35, 5 and 6, and I said Shea is gonna be the thing with Shea, the same thing with Jason Tatum, where they're suffering from success from the standpoint of they're suffering from the teams being so great. But the thing about this with me is Shea has been that much of a level ahead of everybody else and everything else that
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with giving it to him this year if we have to give it to him. That
Yeah.
28-5, one game off of having the best record in the NBA. They're on a 13-game win streak where Shea has been the man in the front runner. So, that's how I'm looking at it. Shea is probably my front runner right now, strict off the fact of he is the best player on the best team, and he's playing like it year in and year out.
Oh yeah, they are rolling. I really love what they've done with the team and how they built around him. And he was almost MVP last year, and I think he really gets it this year. Um,
Okay. I was gonna say we're talking about awards too. Who is right now your rookie of the year? It was for me. It was Jared McCain until he got hurt, but now I'm just like, do we got to give the award away?
yeah, it sucks for him. He was really balling. I think Edie has a really good chance. I know I'm biased a little bit, but I think Dalton Connect's still going to be in the hunt at some point. But yeah, right now I would say Edie.
If Jared McCain come back and hits the game, then I think pretty much it's McCain's health is going to be the determining factor whether he
Mm-hmm.
makes it.
Yeah, I really wish we could have seen everybody on the Sixers kind of healthy at the same time to see what they really could have become. But yeah, it's a shame that McCain's hurt.
Exactly. Now, as of right now, who is your coach of the year?
Um, I mean, I think you got to give it to Kenny Atkinson of the Cavs to see how much they turned around, how much they really bought in, and they're right now one seed competing with Boston with essentially the same roster as last year.
This is safe space, Jared.
Yeah,
You sure?
yeah,
Give me Ime Udoka.
yeah. Okay, okay. I'm not
I've
mad
been
at it.
I've been huge on the Rockets for the last 2 years, 2 to 3 years, because I've said they have the talent base and they have the talent base to make something shake as soon as they develop. And
Mm-hmm.
now they got a coach behind them that knows what he's doing. It seems like they got the Jalen Green and Alfred Sengun thing figured out. Amin Thompson is looking nice coming into his own. It sucks that Jabari Smith just went out with that broken
Yeah.
hand.
Oh
He's
yeah.
out 4 to 8 weeks. He'll be back pretty soon. And Tari Eason is also out for them as well. So they got some injuries that's hurt them, but this team is still so deep, man. They still got Cam Whitmore. They still got Reed Shepard. Still got guys who can make a difference coming off that pine and making something happen. So, I feel like this is the season where I don't let the lights get too bright. That is my advice for the Rockets.
They've been
Don't let the
rolling.
lights. Exactly.
I really do. I am a fan of what Ime has been able to do with the Rockets. Again, a team that had the worst record not too long ago, and they really turned around. And guys, again, a guy like Jalen Green who's bought in, who has had those allegations of really just being a shot chucker, inefficient, all that, and he's really become a much better player.
He still is to a point. He's beaten the allegations, but I don't think he hasn't completely beat the Zach LaVine allegations.
I can't be mad at a little gunslinger, but he's mostly, found a way to buy into the system and play within it.
Now, who would potentially be? I'm not really gonna do most improved, but I think I'm willing to leave it at that. Any teams that just really been impressing you NBA wise before we get out of here?
Oh man, I was gonna say the Magic for all the injuries, but
That was
I
my
know they were
team.
good. I know they were good last year, but the fact that they continue to keep the momentum, everybody looks better. Again, despite the injuries, they were a team that was really impressing me.
I think this is the blessing in disguise. Everyone being hurt in the first half of the season. I think the second half of the season they're gonna tune up. Paolo's gonna be back. Paolo was looking like an
Mm-hmm.
MVP candidate, man, and I'm
Yeah,
so upset. For
almost said every.
Paolo might miss out on an All NBA this year because of an injury, and so Paolo was playing at an All NBA level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel real bad that he's gonna miss it because of the new rules. Which, I mean, I think those new rules in themselves are a little bit of a issue because I feel like the NBA kind of overcooked with it and so desperate to make sure everybody plays every game like it's their last, basically. That we've kind of cheated certain guys who really deserved it out of not being in there.
Yeah, that's a rough spot for us, man. But
Hmm.
Jan, your first episode of Night Shift, man.
Yes,
What you
sir.
think?
Hey, pretty cool. Good to be here.
We gonna have more. We gonna have more going forward. We got more in store. Glad Jan has been with us to hop on with us for this new year, this new upcoming time for the show. We got a lot of things going on, guys. Anybody that's here, I'm gonna give you all a little sneak preview. We will be moving to Wednesdays for the main lounge show. This night shift, we're gonna use it to cover a lot of things. We want to start hopping into more combat sports. We want to make stuff shape. We want to make this viewer interactive. Anytime we get the viewers involved, we get the people involved. It makes stuff great. It makes it fun. Um, we got new faces coming for y'all, like Jaron popping through. Hopefully, he can be with us as often as he can on these Fridays and make some shape. You see, man, we got guys with elite ball knowledge now.
I try, man. I try.
Hey, and definitely, man. And if y'all like these position breakdowns, me and Jared can keep doing position breakdowns as we go, especially for the NFL draft. We got a bunch of position groups, Jared. So,
Oh
look,
yeah.
we got more than enough to talk about, especially because the draft isn't until April.
Hmm.
So we got more than enough to talk about.
My team's already focused on the draft now.
Oh yeah, y'all ain't got no choice. We still focus on the playoffs. So I don't know how far we might make it.
Hey.
Um, yeah, man. I hope we make it deep in the playoffs this year. I feel like last year was our year, honestly, and we low key blew it. But we gonna see how we go, man. But any last words for the outro?
Uh. Hey, I don't know.
Well, man, I'm your host Jay Lounge, undisputed Universal Champ. I got a token that. I got a coin that. And man, without further ado, we out, baby. Peace.
Peace.